So using the equation method, additional funds needed is equal to A star, which is the increasing assets, those assets that increase with a sales increase, divided by the sales in the present, today's sales, times delta S, which is just the change in sales from period 0 to period 1, minus L star, which are spontaneous liabilities. Those are liabilities that increase spontaneously with an increase in sales. We want to divide those by S sub 0, the sales today in period 0, and multiply that fraction by delta S, again the change in sales. And then we subtract our profit margin, M, times the sales in period 1, S sub 1, times 1 minus the dividend payout rate, or small d. So let's start by finding A star, the increasing assets. Since the question tells us that all assets can be expressed as a percentage of sales, A star equals total assets. So basically here, there's no distinction between some assets that can be expressed as a percent of sales and thus are increasing and some that can't. Here it's saying that all of them do. So we're just going to let A star equal our total assets, which we get from the question is $8.4 million worth. We're also told that all spontaneous liabilities can be expressed as a percent of sales. So we'll use the normal spontaneous liabilities to find L star. Well, what we normally consider to be spontaneous liabilities are accounts payable and accruals. So we add those two up. Accounts payable is $1.5 million and accruals is $600,000. So we get $2.1 million for our spontaneous liabilities, for L star. So here's the equation again, and we found A star and we found L star. So now let's find the change in sales. We're given that sales in year 0 were $6 million. Since they are expected to grow by 25% over this year, sales in year 1 will be the $6 million in year 0 times a growth of 25% times 1.25. That gives us sales in year 1 equal to $7.5 million. So the change in sales is just the sales in year 1 minus the sales in year 0, which is just the $7.5 million minus the $6 million, and that gives us a delta S, change in sales, equal to $1.5 million worth. So we can find the profit margin now. We're just moving along this equation. We have A star, S0, delta S. We have L star, we have delta S and S0. And now we're here. We're trying to look for the profit margin. We have S1 and then the dividend payout ratio as well. So we can find the profit margin, M, directly from the income statement. Profit margin is defined to be the net income divided by your sales. Well, our net income is given straight from, again, the income sheet as $732,000. Our sales, we already know, equal $6 million, so our profit margin is 12.2%. Finally, we're told that the dividend payout rate, small d, will remain constant at 30%. We could have also found this from the income statement if it wasn't given in the question. Dividend payout rate is just the dividends, the dollar dividend value that goes to our shareholders divided by our net income. So we could have found that 30% that way as well. So we have all the components, and additional funds needed equals our increasing assets of $8.4 million divided by the sales in period 0 of $6 million times the delta S, the change in sales, $1.5 million, minus our spontaneous liabilities of $2.1 million over sales times delta S, minus our profit margin of 12.2% times the sales in year 1, $7.5 million, times 1 minus the dividend payout ratio, 1 minus 0.3. That gives us an additional funds needed of $934,500.